Today we're going to talk about 959, where we left off last video, right?
That's right. Yep.
So, I mean, we didn't even get to 959, and everyone out there was waiting on 959. And so the mysterious 959 is what we're going to talk about. We're going to try to get to 959 today, and we're going to continue with this timeline. We have a couple questions that have been answered.
Right.
Through some more analysis. We just saw Jesus and Stephen, which is the engineer's name, on Ellen, and that was very interesting. So what I did was I took that recording and copied down every word verbatim, and then I went and found Stephen, his interview with the Today Show, Matt Lauer. And I wrote down every single word he said on that one as well. And I put them I superimposed them all into a timeline. And the interesting thing is that it still doesn't make sense. All right. And then what I did to try to make sense out of it even more was I went online and found supposedly an Australian who was staying in a room next to Paddock. Okay. And that Australian actually makes a comment about how he got there and what he did after the shooting. And so what I did was I wrote down all his words, right, during his interviews. He had 2 interviews that I saw. And I superimposed them into this as well. So my timeline may seem a little confusing, but that's only because I superimposed about 4 interviews, right, together, of all of these guys.
Right.
And I tried to put them in the same timeline because what you should be able to do, and you know as well as I do, is when you have an incident like this and you have potentially multiple people in the same area of some occurrence, what's the first thing you do? You divide them up and you say, Brian, you take this guy over to this room. Bruce, you take that guy over to that room. John, you take him. And everyone interviews everybody individually.
Yeah.
To see if they come up with the same story. Like JonBenet Ramsey, like O.J. Simpson, right? All of that stuff. That's what you do. Well, what's interesting about today when we talk about this is you'll also see pictures of Jose receiving a Heroes Award by the Mandalay Bay. He's already received the award. He received the award a couple days after the incident for being a hero. That's kind of weird because those types of awards don't really happen that quick. But
no,
especially when you're still in question.
Well, and I mean, I understand. I understand. I guess they want to kind of divert attention a little bit by doing that. Probably for the good.
Yeah.
But I don't know what, he got shot in the leg.
Right.
But none of the stories match. So that might have been a little premature to give him an award just yet.
Might be. Might have been a little premature. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this timeline of all of this information. So where we left off last time, and again, for everybody out there who's listening to us for the first time, Brian is a retired fire investigator. I am a retired special agent with the Army. And so the two of us are not going to do what most news media and outlets have done. We're not going to give you our feelings about certain people, whether they're guilty or not, because who knows? All we're doing is trying to gather the facts.
Right.
And we're just gathering the facts and putting things together from the plethora of stuff that's been submitted out there in the news media.
Right.
Yeah. Because that's what we normally would do.
Yeah. It's not our opinion. It is just the facts and how, if they line up or if they don't.
That's it.
And
right.
And right now, we took a whole hour the other day. We haven't even got to 9:59, which 9:59, I don't know if really is. It's not even the documented time of the shooting. We've, after you research this. So,
It's the mysterious 9:59.
Yes.
All right. So I don't know how else to say it other than the mysterious 9:59.
It's probably a good mysterious 9:59. I like that.
Okay.
Too bad you came up. Yeah.
I know. So, but I'm proud of it. I'll probably trademark that. All right. So everybody will have to pay me royalties after this.
That's right. Every time they say 9:59.
Yeah. That's right. 9:59. I'm going to trademark. So every time somebody says 9:59, they have to pay me.
So we got this Ellen DeGeneres show.
Oh, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but that was a very interesting because of how it's lining up.
Yeah, no,
So-
we're there. So
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna let everybody know where we left off.
Mhm.
So we left off. Actually, the last thing that we stated was basically Lombardo, which was the sheriff, confirmed to the Las Vegas Review-Journal after the news conference that a barricaded door that he mentioned during the briefing,
Right.
previous briefing, was one that led from the stairwell to the 32nd floor hallway adjacent to Paddock's room. That's where Jesus was. And that's where we left off. And in suspense, we're going to try to continue this. And we did get some questions answered, which was good, which was really good.
Right.
So,
Right.
So we're gonna start actually with the Ellen show because that actually, from the timeline I had previously, they answered a lot of questions. From all of those interviews, they answered a lot of questions. What's that?
Right. Or did they? I have a question because I was just looking through that.
Yeah.
I just was reminding myself about that. One of the first things that when Ellen brings the map out here and says, right before that,
yeah,
she says something about, so you got a call to check on a door that was open. Okay.
Right.
And Jesus says, we got notified making sure to secure the doors, or if they weren't already secure, we made a check on the door.
Right.
Okay. So they just got notified to go to that floor.
Yeah.
To either make sure they're secure, make sure that that was not clear. And then honestly, this is where security guards may differ, unless I don't think he's an actual police officer, but if he is, shame on him, because he used this term that would be cleared up immediately in a fire investigation.
Yeah.
He said the doors are always supposed to be open.
Right.
Okay. So now, does he mean unlocked, or does he mean open? Because stairwell doors typically are closed, but they're open.
But they're
so
unlocked.
You can go.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're typically closed because it's a fire escape.
Well, you're making me itch because I really want to get to the timeline, man. Because you're going to love this.
Go ahead.
You haven't heard the show, right?
No, I haven't.
So this is great. You haven't heard. This is fantastic. So you're just like all the audience. So I'm gonna spell out this and the inconsistencies, and I really want you to pay attention to a couple things.
All right.
I want you to pay attention to the pronouns used. Okay? By the certain people who say the statements. Pay attention to their statement. Pay attention to the pronouns they use when they use them. And I want you to pay attention to how consistent they are during multiple different interviews.
Okay.
The story is eerie. It almost reads like a play.
Like a play, like a script.
Like a script, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the three things I really want you to look at, okay? So on the Ellen show, just happened, right? Ellen asks them basically, how are you guys doing? And, collectively, how are you guys doing? And Jesus says, now I'm saying it verbatim, okay? So pretty much verbatim. As each day passes, we were working to get over this. Oh, that was Stephen. That was Stephen, the engineer.
Okay.
So Stephen, the engineer, right?
Right.
And then you have Jesus, the guard.
Right.
All right, let's just get that straight. So Stephen says, well, as each day passes, we are working to get over this.
That's a good canned line right there.
Well, to me, it's interesting that he used we're working to get over this. I mean, a lot of this is really we're trying to get through this, is what most people say.
Right.
Not over it.
No, because over it means finished.
Completely.
And you're not thinking about it anymore.
No, he's trying to push it, right? That's the assumption. So anyway, the word over strikes me as a very strange term for somebody to use who basically is at the heart of this issue.
Right.
And then he says, this is Stephen. Well, my side on the Today Show, see, I'm going through. So we're talking about Ellen, then we're talking about the Today Show.
Okay.
The Today Show with Matt Lauer asks him the same question. Okay.
How are you doing?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Okay.
His statement in the Today Show, this is Stephen, the engineer, says, well, my side, my story, that's how he started.
Oh, wow. Now, when was it filmed? When were they done?
Well, the Today Show was probably a week ago or so. I don't have the date for it, but it was before the Ellen Show.
Oh, it was before the Ellen Show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's interesting. What does that mean to you? When somebody says, well, my side, my story.
Right.
That's interesting. I mean, I just say it's interesting. It raises questions because words like that or statements like that during a subject interview, you really want to dig into.
Right.
What does that mean to you?
Well,
right?
I mean, a lot of times people would say, well, I saw this or I did this.
Right.
Not my story.
Right.
So he's definitely spoke to those in and around doing interviews, like Jesus and some of these other guys. And he's evidently on Matt Lauer. He's separating himself from them.
Okay, so that's your take on it.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we're not presuming anything. We're just saying this is our take as an investigator.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and from my standpoint, these are types of questions that I would want to use if I talk to him in person.
Yeah.
What is it? What do you really mean by that?
Right.
What is your side? You know.
Yep.
So anyway, so then on the Ellen Show, let's go back to the Ellen Show.
Okay.
They ask Jesus about the what happened, and he goes, well, I was in the stairwell. I was coming from. Answers a question of ours, right? From last time. I was coming from the 31st up to the 32nd.
Right.
All right. That's good information. Then he says, when I approached the door, it didn't open.
Right.
All right. So here's a security guard who was on the 31st floor, right? And he walked up the stairwell to the
30 floors.
No. He was already on the 31st floor.
Right.
And he walked up to the 32nd along in the stairwell of the door that didn't open.
Right. Right.
It's not the alarm door. We still don't know what room the alarm door was in. If there was an alarm, you'd know the door. Right?
You would know the door, yes.
Sure. How's that work in a hotel, man? Or in a house?
Well, I would imagine in Vegas, 34, you would, if it just showed one hall or one room.
Right.
But if it's, who knows how it's set up, but at least they know what floor to go to.
Sure.
My confusion is you don't really know when I'm looking through this what door it was until she throws the map up there on what door supposedly was locked or barricaded or something.
Yeah. So he says he walks up. So the assumption is he was already on that side of the 31st floor. I mean, the 31st floor in the Mandalay is huge. Okay?
Yes.
It's got 3 wings to it.
Right.
So he was already on that floor when he got the call, is the assumption, because other than that, he would have taken the quickest way, right, which is through an elevator. So he walked.
And just by coincidence, he was on the 31st floor when he got the call.
That's what it sounds like.
And why wouldn't you, if it's just an unsecured door, why wouldn't you take an elevator up to the 32nd?
Well, the assumption from my point of view is he had to have already been directly under that room to walk up the stairs because it's the quickest. I mean, you and I would go the quickest. We'd go, all right, I got to go upstairs. Stairwell's here, elevator's there. Let me just go up the stairs.
If he's there, yes.
Right.
If he was on that side, yeah.
Sure.
And in that stairwell, but I know he's not searching. I know he's not, like we talked about the other day, he's not traveling up 32 stairwells checking doors.
No, and we don't know if he had received a call ahead of it. We don't know why he was on the 31st.
We don't know where he was when he got the call. He just says he was on the 31st. Right. But it's crazy stuff. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I was coming up the 31st, up to the 32nd, from the 31st to the 32nd. When I approached the door, which is the stairwell door, okay,
right.
And all of us have been through stairwells. We know those doors. The door didn't open. All right. So at this point is the second story, and according to the Vegas Review Journal, the second story that the sheriff told everybody,
okay,
was at 9:59. We're here, all right? At 9:59. This is the second story, not the first, because the first wrong, right? They changed it. So this is the updated story.
What was the first?
The first was 9:59 was when he got shot.
Okay.
All right. So the second story is, and we're still on the second story as far as I've seen, is the 9:59 timestamp. Lombardo said, now this comes out of the Vegas Review Journal, instead referred to the time when Jesus encountered a barricaded door. Yes, we have reached 9:59. Finally, the suspense is killing me. All right.
Instead referred to time when he had encountered the barricaded door.
The barricaded door.
Okay, now, he didn't say anything. Jesus didn't say anything about it being barricaded.
No.
He says he couldn't open it up.
Exactly.
It was locked.
That's a problem, isn't it?
Is it locked, barricaded, or what?
Well, the assumption is...
Through the door.
Yeah. I mean, barricaded is a pretty powerful word.
Yeah, it is.
What does that mean to you?
That means it's barricaded.
On the other side.
Well, yeah, and as far as I know, stairwell, you're not able to look through the window.
No! We saw there's a video of the hallway. You can't see through the door.
You can't see through the door.
So how could he know at 9:59 he ran into it or encountered a barricaded door? I don't get it. Okay, so maybe the 9:59 is not at this point, right? Maybe it's not when the door wouldn't open. Maybe it's after he turns and goes around to the hallway and checks from the other side. Okay, let's just take that as
let's think about that one.
Okay, all right, that's good. Well, let's do that.
Yeah.
All right, so
you routed, right?
Yeah.
He rerouted.
So yeah, he says Campos Jose says it was blocked off, so I had to reroute.
Okay, now that's from him being in the stairwell.
He's still in the stairwell.
How did he know it's blocked off?
I don't know. He just said it didn't open, and then he said it was blocked off, so I had to reroute.
That doesn't make any sense. Is it, again, I go back to, is it...
I mean, I don't like making fun of this story because so many people died and were injured. It's a horrible situation, but this is so fake that it just kills me because every sentence I've written down of these guys' interviews and nothing literally makes sense.
No, it doesn't. No. Now, if he's in the stairwell, How does he know that door's blocked? And so he had to reroute. Now,
Right.
had he said it was locked,
Right.
and I had to reroute,
Sure.
and found out from the other side it was blocked,
Right.
I can understand that.
Absolutely. So I will tell you that I really like the fact that these guys, that their lawyers or whoever, allowed them to be interviewed, basically subject interviewed before the entire country.
Unreal.
Because their stories are so bad, right? Because they raise questions. Now, this is just like if they wrote a sworn statement.
Right.
And then we analyzed the sworn statement, and then we went into the subject interview with what they've already written and signed for. This is exactly what that is.
Exactly.
So my question to him is, explain how you knew that it was blocked off.
How did you know it blocked off?
I mean, why would you use those terms?
Yeah.
Describe what you saw.
I saw a closed door, and I couldn't open it.
Exactly. Exactly. So tell me what causes you to use the word blocked off.
He rerouted.
So he rerouted.
And where did he reroute to?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
So he says, the next thing he says is, I rerouted, and this is all in order, okay? After I dropped down and came back through a hallway, right? So he came back through the hallway on the 32nd. So he says he dropped down.
Right.
The assumption is he went to the 31st, right? And then he went back through the hallway, which the assumption is he went up the elevator and then walked down the hallway.
Yeah, because he's probably tired by now.
All right, because, I mean, there's no stairwell. I mean, there's an elevator in the middle, right? So, I mean, we're assuming he went to the elevator. And so then he says, I dropped down, and then I came back through the hallway when I was in between that area, and he's pointing that there's a hallway door next to Paddock's, right? So if you're staring at Paddock's room, the door, right, that he supposedly shot 200 rounds out of and was actually exploded by the cops, but, whatever. The door on the left, Paddock was in room 135. We know that.
Right.
The room on the left, the door on the left, that's to the hallway, okay?
To a small hallway right before.
Yeah, there's two doors, right? So you go through that door, and then there's a little area, and then you have to go through another door to get into the stairwell, okay?
Right.
If you turn right, it's room 134, okay? So 135 is Paddock's, 134, and then to the left is this door that this guy's talking about, right? So Jesus says, when I was in between that area, and he's pointing in between that door of the hallway and the door that wouldn't open.
Right.
Okay. I called dispatch. Perfect. We actually have a start point.
Start point.
It's got to be valid. He called dispatch, and he used his radio, right?
Right.
So he didn't say that, but so I called dispatch. So we know exactly where he was in between those two doors when he called dispatch.
Right.
All right. So now the second story makes a little more sense. That had to be 9:59, right? Remember, Lombardo said at 9:59 is the time when Campos encountered the barricaded door.
Okay.
Which means he confirmed that it was barricaded.
Okay. So what did he find? What was it barricaded with?
So he said it was I think it was welded shut, but let's see, it's down here a little bit further. So with latches or some shit, I don't know. So sorry about my language. So anyway, so he called dispatch, right? And dispatch said they didn't know nothing about it. So they dispatched an engineer to go verify what that was. Right? So there's something. There was like there was another report that said there was like a metal bars or something, the reason that it wouldn't open. But he didn't say that on the Ellen show. Okay. So
what did he say on the Ellen show?
this is exactly what he said.
Oh,
They didn't know nothing.
so
So when I was in between the area, I called dispatch. They didn't know nothing about it, so they dispatched an engineer to go verify what that was.
what was?
I guess the barricade.
Did he describe it?
Not on the Ellen show.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know.
Why wouldn't she ask him what was it blocked with?
So the Ellen show, just so everyone knows, I mean, if you do some research, she's done a lot of commercials for the MGM and Mandalay Bay. She actually has a slot machine, the Ellen slot machine, that is in the Mandalay Bay.
So there's some interest.
Well, this is a great publicity stunt for her and the Mandalay Bay, right? I mean, it whether it was or not or intended that way, we don't know. It just there's a lot of connections there. But so anyway, she's not going to ask him hard questions. Is the bottom line, right? All right. So like us. So anyway,
I'm just wondering. First of all, the security guard when he's coming up through the stairwell to floor 32,
right,
and the door is shut, and he didn't say he tried to use a key to open it. Nowhere did he say he tried to use a key to open it. If there was, usually the security guards have a key, a master key.
Yeah.
And so, especially the fire door.
Yeah.
And then, he says it's blocked.
Right.
Okay, well, that's odd because fire doors in stairwells open towards the stairwell. They don't open towards the hallway on the other side.
Oh, interesting.
They open as the person's fleeing. They open that way.
Is that how it has to happen? Because you're an fire investigator, so you do the inspections.
If you got a bunch of people, then you open the door towards you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting out of a toilet stall and
sure.
You're finished in the bathroom.
So what you're saying is that the lock was on the stairwell side.
It can't be on the other side.
It's on the stairwell side.
Yeah, it can't be on the other side. You can't have it. It's got to be a push door to open it.
So do all security guards have keys to the fire doors, the stairwell doors?
Unless you're a fake security guard.
All of them, really? All of them do. I mean, I would.
You'd have to. Yeah. You'd have to. It's a security. It's security thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a checklist. Well, yeah, it's a security thing, and you're a security thing. Okay.
So let's call an engineer.
Yeah.
Okay. At 10 o'clock at night on a weekend.
Oh, it gets better.
So. You're not getting any of it.
Oh, good point. Okay, we cover that one. He covers that one actually. So on the Today Show, Stephen, the engineer, says, because they ask him where were you when you got the call. Great point of reference. That can be confirmed. Okay.
Right. Where were you?
Guess where he was?
He was on the 32nd floor.
Oh, no, what?
33rd floor.
Okay. So good guess. He says, I was on a higher floor when I was called to check out a fire exit door that would not open. That's what he said on the Today Show. Now, what you and I are both seeing here is the purposeful separation of these two individuals.
Right.
Prior to the incident.
Right.
Purposeful.
The planned separation, but close enough to get this timeline.
Plausible deniability. Right. So this is almost like, I mean, we're going to see these interviews in all of the training programs we've gone to in the past, okay? Because this is almost like interviewing high school kids that are making up a story, right?
Well, let's see. I want to see the read technique done on these guys too, man. I mean, it's just crazy. I'm looking at those guys going, "What?"
Oh yeah, Reed's all over this. You know they're going to use that. So the SCAN course too, the subject interview statement analysis. Oh my gosh. So then Ellen says on the Ellen show, we're back at the Ellen show.
Okay.
She asked Stephen Paddock. I mean, yes, no, not Paddock because he's not around. But she asked Stuck.
She asked the engineer.
The engineer, Stephen.
Right.
Says, so that's when you got called, Stephen. He goes, yes. That's when I got called. All right. As soon as Jesus, right, said that he called the security, Okay,
Right.
so his story lines up. That's when he got called, right? I mean, his story between the Today Show and Ellen Show lines up. I got called to come and check this door that wouldn't open. They called an engineer for that. So
they had already called the engineer on another door earlier, supposedly.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, that's why he was already on the top floor checking another fire escape.
Probably.
Why would you have an engineer checking the fire escape?
I don't know. Where do they normally hang out?
On the first floor already.
Where do they normally hang out? I don't know. Because Steven's not a security guard; he's an engineer. Where do the engineers normally hang out? I mean,
I don't know. Not at 10 o'clock at night. I don't know.
Yeah, right. So Jose says, and at that time, this is on the Ellen Show. At that time, I heard what I assumed was drilling sounds. So
Jesus heard that.
Yeah, Jesus was inside that little room,
the little foyer there.
The little foyer there. He's saying that, basically he heard drilling sounds. I believe that they were in the area working somehow. Okay, so I don't know who they are, right? You start saying they, that I want you to tell me, who do you think they are? Are you saying that you heard it from Stephen Paddock's room, or they? Who's they, right?
Right.
All right. Now, remember this drilling sounds thing, okay? All right, so I'm
also remembering that he's a security guard, and he's been informed of any maintenance being done in the Mandalay Bay.
Yeah, I would think.
Before shift.
Sure.
Or at shift change.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a lot of money in the building.
Sure.
A lot of people. You would be briefed on who's doing what where.
Right. So he says, and at that time, now here's a security guard who's still in that foyer.
Okay.
Okay.
Did he take a seat on the barricade?
I don't know. I'm assuming he's sitting on the barricaded door,
take a smoke break,
calling somebody, going, "Hey, I hear drilling sounds." I think somebody's working.
Don't mind.
Yeah.
might be from some hearing piece he had.
I don't get it. So then the Ellen Show, Ellen says, "So Stephen," goes back to the engineer. "So then you were called up." All right. Well, he's already confirmed that.
Right.
Stephen says, "Well, I didn't think anything out of the ordinary at the time." And he starts moving around in his seat as soon as he says that, right? So the body language, and there's a bunch of YouTubes out there for that. Then Stephen says, "I came from a higher floor." Where did you hear that before, right? So it's the same story.
Same story.
Okay.
He still doesn't know what floor, though?
No. He specific. I came from a higher floor. Now remember.
Things like that happen, you know where you're going or where you came from.
Oh, yeah. You go, look, I was in room this, and I came, So the Today Show, he said, I was on a higher floor.
Right.
And the Ellen Show, he says, I came from a higher floor.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, listen to the language. It's exact.
Right.
All right. And there's no shakiness to any of this. The voices are not. Like the people who were shot at down at the ground. So then Stephen...
Huh? Which means it's more scripted. Because he's...
The assumption is. So then he says, I came down to the 32nd floor to a different wing. So there's 3 wings. All right. That's what he said on the Today Show. On the Today Show, he says, I came down. On the Ellen Show, he says, I came from a higher floor. On the Today Show, remember, he said, okay, I was on a higher floor. I was called. And then he says, I came down to the 32nd floor to a different wing. All right?
Okay.
On the Ellen Show, he says, I didn't think anything about it. It wasn't out of the ordinary. He moves around. He goes, I came down a different hallway through the service elevator. Now, let's just stop there for a second. This is the first time I've heard anyone other than Paddock using the service elevator.
Right.
He actually said service elevator during the Ellen Show. Okay? And then later on, we'll get to it, he actually says he had the master keys. Plural. Okay, I mean, so there's missing things like so who gave him access to the service elevator? Who has master keys? Well, this gentleman just told us that he is an engineer, and as an engineer, he has access to the service elevator because he came down a different hallway, right?
Right.
He came down the service elevator on a different wing, and then later on we'll hear that he had the keys. Then Stephen says, at the Today Show, I was walking down. I didn't hear anything. Okay? I turned the corner from the center court into the 100 hallway, which I'm assuming is Paddock's hallway. All right? This is where everything happened, the 100 hallway.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Well, what was interesting and I underlined was I didn't hear anything. All right? Because that is a point in time. Okay? So, look, he turned the corner from the center court into the 100 hallway where you can see all the way down to Paddock's room. Okay?
Right. Because the door is literally
at the end.
All the way down at the dead end.
Yeah. All right. And then what he said, what does he say when he starts that sentence? I didn't hear anything.
Right.
Okay? Now, let's just, that is a powerful statement. So on the Today Show, this wasn't on Ellen. On the Today Show, he says, all right, I was walking down. I didn't hear anything. I turned the corner from the center court into the 100 hallway. If you picture that, he's turning the court. He's walking all the way down, those long hallways, and it's silent, right? Okay.
Right.
The Ellen Show, he says, this is Stephen, says, and I walked out and I rounded the corner to the 100 hallway. Almost verbatim.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Right.
It's almost strikingly interesting that they use the same words because most people don't do that.
Right.
All right. I mean, it's like reading a script actually, right? When you put it together like this. All right. So then in the Ellen Show, he says, and I walked out and I rounded the corner. No one says rounded the corner. And then to the 100 hallway. All right.
Yeah.
That's when it was quiet at the time. That's how he said it.
Mm.
That's when it was quiet at the time. That tells... What? What do you think?
I think he forgot his line.
He forgot his line! He forgot his line! Look, you and I both, when we were in high school, man, we used to do those little skits on, in theater. Yeah! Guess what? You know what happens when you forget a line? Is you cut the next person off because you have to get that line in because the other person's statement doesn't make sense unless you said it all.
Exactly.
That's what he did.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so he says, and so remember, in the Today Show, he said, I was walking, I didn't hear anything. That came first. I turned the corner from the center court into the 100 hallway. In the Ellen Show, he says, and I walked out and I rounded the corner to the 100 hallway. That's when it was quiet at that time.
Right.
Okay. Then he says, the doors are set back, as you can see, because remember, Ellen has the map up.
Right.
So he says, the doors are set back, as you can see, about a foot, like the picture, right? Like your map.
Okay. Right.
Jesus was towards the end of the hallway. This is what he said. Hey, now remember.
Jesus was towards the end of the hallway, which he must be right in front of Paddock's room.
Well, as far as I thought, maybe.
If he's seeing it.
Well, I'm assuming he's still sitting on the barricade.
Smoking a cigarette, yeah. Now, did he see Jesus down there, or did he know he was down?
Well, he clarifies.
Okay.
Stephen clarifies. Thank God.
Yeah.
All right. Thank God for Stephen clarifying. So he says Jesus was towards the end of the hallway. Now, that's a long hallway, and towards the end of it, I would say, is more than halfway. Okay?
Right. Okay.
I mean, any normal person would say that.
I would say, yes. Towards the end means pretty close to the finish.
Yes. Okay. Closer to that door than me. Okay.
Yes.
So, and then he says, I didn't know at the time that I saw someone like pop out of a cubby. You know, I thought I saw someone poke their head out, but nothing set off my radar. It was silent at the time. Okay, that's his statement.
Well, the guy sticking his head out of the cubby I would have assumed was Jesus.
Well, yeah, okay. So that's what we're thinking, right? But somebody sticking their head out of a cubby because they're now remember, if you're thinking about this, Jesus now is no longer obviously sitting on the barricade.
Because he saw Jesus towards the end of the hallway. So he's already seen Jesus.
Right. So he's seeing Jesus in the hallway, hiding behind, Jesus is a big guy, hiding behind a 1 foot little thing where the door's at. Okay? Popping his head out. Right?
Right.
Now remember, let's just, so Jesus right now, as Stephen rounds the corner, right? And confirms again there was no sound. He sees somebody sticking his head out, and Jesus we don't know which side Jesus was on, but he was on a side, because they didn't tell what side. Which side is Jesus on, the left or the right?
We're assuming he's on the left.
And he's poking his head out. Okay. If Jesus is getting shot at, if Jesus was hiding behind a wall, I mean, he wouldn't be hiding behind a wall, poking his head out if he wasn't getting shot at. Right?
He wouldn't be hiding behind the wall, but here's the thing, is the dude's shooting 200 rounds through the door. It's coming down the hallway.
Well, he hadn't shot yet.
I know.
Because Stephen said it was quiet.
Said he heard.
Stephen said it was quiet.
Right. So why is Jesus hiding?
I don't know. So if you were hiding from me, and the doors, the hotel room doors were set back about a foot or two,
right?
Where would you be standing in that little cubby area? If you're hiding from me.
If you're the shooter,
if I'm Steven,
Steven.
If I'm Steven walking down, Steven? I'm playing hide and seek, man, because it's quiet. But I'm seeing somebody poke their head out. Right.
That's some crazy stuff, man. Yeah. I don't know. It's a
well, you're on the wall, so you can't see the body, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm standing here and somebody's walking this direction, right?
Right. Okay. And I'm gonna go boo.
Well, that means Paddock's room he was facing.
Right.
Right? So
right.
Okay. All right. So he's poking his head out because he can't see anybody. All he sees is a head poking out. Right? So if you're in the middle of the Mandalay Bay, rounding the corner, and it's silent, because he said twice in 2 different TV shows that it was silent. Right? The Today Show, he says, I thought I saw. The Today Show, he actually says it. He says it in this order. He says, I thought I saw someone poke their head out, but nothing set off my alarm or my radar. It was silent at the time. He said it after that.
Yeah.
All right, okay? Ellen's show, he actually says it before. Okay? So remember, in the Today Show, he says, I came down to the 32nd floor to a different wing. This is the Today Show. I walked down, didn't hear anything, turned the corner into the 100 hallway, thought I saw someone poke their head out of and nothing caught my radar. That was weird. It was silent at the time. That's how he ended. Okay. Well, the Ellen show, he says...
I can see walking down a hallway.
Sure.
Not thinking anything's wrong.
Yeah.
And somebody comes out of their room and kind of looks, they're here, they listen to something, and then they go back in their room.
Yeah. Okay. And it's silent.
And it's silent.
I mean, he has solidified and confirmed that at this time he is in the hallway and it's silent. Right?
Right.
He has confirmed that it is silent at the time in which Jesus is hiding.
And says he hears drilling.
Well, Jesus said he heard drilling earlier. when he was sitting on the barricade,
Right.
smoking a cigarette or whatever.
That's right.
Right. Now, Jesus is in the hallway hiding from Stephen, the engineer, because Stephen's just confirmed it's quiet. He hasn't heard anything.
Yeah.
He's not received any calls. Right?
So now.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Check this out. So Ellen says, at what point did you get shot? That was actually a great question. Because you have just now, Stephen, once on 2 different shows, twice total, has confirmed the hallway was quiet. He confirmed that he was in the hallway with Jesus, who was hiding, playing hide and seek.
Right.
And the hallway was quiet.
Now, I'm going to go back 1 second.
Yes.
If Jesus was hiding, okay, I'm just saying from a firefighter's point of view.
Yes.
That I would imagine there's a lot of practical jokers in those Mandalay bays type of thing.
Yeah,
with security guards and the engineers.
You're not saying firefighters and police officers and security guards.
You know that the engineer, I'm going to get him this time. He's going to walk down.
Sure.
As soon as he comes in here, I'm going to go, whoo! You know?
Yeah, sure.
So
that's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
That's what it sounds like a game right now.
Okay, sounds like a game right now.
Right.
So Ellen actually says a great question. I don't know if she even realized she asked, but this actually was a great question.
Yeah.
So, Jesus, at what point did you get shot? I mean, we've just heard that you were playing hide and seek basically with the engineer. We've confirmed that the engineer and you were in a quiet hallway.
Right.
So, and I don't think she caught that. At what point did you get shot? Is what she says. Jesus says, as the door, which is the hallway door, he was sitting on the barricade, okay? So he goes back to the barricade, right?
Right.
Who knows if he's a smoker? We think he's sitting on the barricade. That's just what Brian and I think because it's the only thing that makes sense. Right. He's listening to some drilling going on, not really thinking much about it. And he says he's already called somebody else to look at the door because he doesn't have the keys. And he goes, well, as that door, and he points to the hallway door, right? So he was sitting in the barricade in a little foyer area, and he's coming out and back out into the hallway.
To the hallway.
Because he's already gone in that door, right? Into the foyer.
Right.
Now he's coming out of the foyer, okay?
Right.
And he says, as that door, and he points to it, is closing, and it's so heavy, it will slam. That's a statement. I'm walking down this way, and he points, he's walking towards the elevators. Down the hallway, away from Paddock's room is where he was pointing. Then he stops his finger about 2.5 rooms down, right? And then he goes, and then he runs his finger directly back, and he's not talking at this point. Because he's like, I was walking down this way. Then he brings his finger back. All right, that dead time means something.
Thinking, oh my God.
Okay, right. And so then he points to the map, and he goes, he says that brings his finger back to the hallway door that he was just talking about, next to Paddock's room, points to the door. He actually goes like this to the door, right, on the map, and he says, and that's what I believe, that's what caught the shooter's attention. Okay, let me go through that again. So he comes out of the door. He says, Ellen says, so at what point did you get shot? I'm like, yes, Ellen, that's a great question. Because I'm dying to know because I've been listening to all of this stuff. No. So he says, okay. Oh, yeah.
He's just saying, he's saying the door, he's lost in his scenario.
He's staying with, have you ever, remember? Yeah, he's trying to remember the script.
That's all it is.
And he's got it memorized, or he thought he had it memorized. But when you memorize a script and you forget, you go back to what you remember.
Right.
And you got to kind of and then it plays out, right? Then you can remember because one sentence triggers another sentence.
Yeah.
But man, you ask him like back and forth, you're lost, right?
So when he says he's got to shut this heavy door, first of all, he didn't mention the door going in before.
No.
Man, he didn't mention it at all.
No, because it was heavy going in, I'm sure.
And now he's got to shut it. It's going to make noise, okay?
Right.
So
he says, this is his words. As that door, points to the hallway door, is closing, and it's so heavy it will slam. I'm walking down this hallway, and that's what I believe, that's what caught the shooter's attention.
The door slamming.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, we don't know.
Zero sense.
No. So
that is the worst story in the world.
Oh, it is. So anyway, I'm still. My question is, what room actually was having the alarm? Like, what room had the alarm going off? Because by God, it's still going off, Brian. That open door alarm is still going off. What room was it?
It's still going off. And what kind of barricade was it?
I mean, who else did they send up?
What was?
Yeah.
They got an engineer coming up. Why don't they give a maintenance guy to come up?
I don't know.
If it's welded, but nobody said what it is so far, do they?
No. Well, I think they do later on, but no, not right now. At this point, no. The interviews, no.
When did he get shot?
Well, we're getting to that. We're getting to that, man. So Paddock.
So now we should have two people in the hallway. Maybe first of all, if Jesus was hiding from Stephen, did he click a door? The heavy door? Give me a break. Really?
Well, the dude's drilling. Okay?
Somebody's drilling somebody.
He's not going to hear a door.
I mean, come on. Okay.
That's a heavy door.
Doors. Hey, you and I, we've been in hotels a lot.
Right.
No one cares about doors shut and opening. Okay.
Oh, no.
I can guarantee you that. Nobody cares.
No.
They just let it go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a dumb one right there. That's terrible.
Okay. So then, the other thing I got is I actually want to know what room actually had the alarm that he was going up to check in the first place. Because the alarm's still going off. Okay? It bothered me. All right? I will not let this go until I know that alarm was turned off in the room that he initially was going up to the second floor to shut off and check. All right? Because that's still going off. All right. And then, so the other thing I got here was maybe some reports say that Paddock had all kinds of, maybe saw Campos or Jesus with the multiple cameras that they had outside the room.
That's what they said.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you got to take off, man.
I do here in a second. Man, do you want to hang on right there?
Huh?
You want to do this? Let's do the rest Sunday.
Yeah, we haven't got to when Jesus was hit.
No.
Okay, so let's leave it with this because right now, what we've got. Let's look what we've got because we've got two of these guys who were eyewitnesses, man.
First on the scene.
They were closer than anybody else in the world.
Right.
Okay. They were there.
Right.
All right. We've got both of them in two different, especially Stephen, in both of his interviews, and now Campos in his interview, saying that they were both in the hallway together. Campos hiding, playing hide and seek.
Right.
We're assuming from the engineer because it was quiet.
Not from gunshot. Because
not from
there
the
is
gunshot.
No gunshot at this time.
Right. So he would have been up against the wall closest to the elevator, right? Hiding like this.
Closest to the elevator or fire escape or whatever.
Well, if he was being fired on at that point, he would have been up against this wall, right? If Paddock's shooting from that side, he would have been up this wall, hiding. Well, he would have been able to see everybody down the hallway.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody down the hallway would have been able to see him.
Right.
Okay. So because Stephen,
I need to get a printout of the map.
Yeah.
So I can see it.
Okay, yeah, you need to do that because I'm going to post it up here.
Yeah.
So we still haven't got to where we got both of them in the hallway, and we know it's quiet because Steven, the engineer, hey, he's an engineer for God's sake. He knows what noise sounds like. Okay.
Yes.
And he knows what quiet sounds like.
Right. It's not very hard to tell.
Right.
And we got Jesus that supposedly is hearing some drilling.
Right.
Drillings. Okay. Popping his head out, ready to scare Steven when he comes down the hallway.
Yeah. So it's a quiet hallway. We've got both of them playing jokes in the hallway.
Right.
No shots fired right now, according to Steven. He turned the corner. It's silent. I saw a head poke out.
Right.
Okay. So we still don't know when he got shot.
We don't know when he got shot. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know a lot of things.
I mean, we assume that 9:59 is when he encountered the barricade in the foyer, and he just decided to sit down, smoke a cigarette possibly, listen to the drilling music as the engineer was called.
Well, if you've ever heard if you've ever, been next to a newlywed suite, you heard some drilling on the next room.
Well, maybe that's what I heard.
It's Vegas.
It's Vegas, baby. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, it's sad that we got to make light of the situation because it's a heavy situation, but this story is crazy right now. And I will tell you that what we were trying to find out last video was a start point. And what we've confirmed is a start point. We've confirmed that Jesus, according to all reports so far, was in that foyer, right?
Right.
He's sitting on or encountering the barricaded door because he couldn't see it from the other side, right? So he's in that foyer listening to drilling sounds, calling on the radio to dispatch.
Right.
That right there,
which already has dispatched an engineer to a top floor somewhere.
Supposedly, yes. Right.
They can't recall what floor.
No.
That he's checking another stairwell, and so it has master keys.
Sure.
So he comes down, opens up the stairwell, starts walking down the hall, and he's saying it's silent. He sees a head pop out, but he doesn't think anything about it.
No, because he doesn't see the whole body.
No. He's probably thinking, "Oh, Jesus is kind of stupid, man. I know where he's at now."
That's hide and seek.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Jesus can't be hiding up against the wall closest to Paddock's room because he would see him all the way down the hallway. You know how that works. So anyway, 9:59 is when the sheriff said Jesus made the call. Right. That the barricade was there. So that dispatch report. Right? Absolutely.
Yes.
So we should be able to see the dispatch report and mark the time of when Jesus called and say Jesus was exactly at this foyer when he made that call.
Right. Well, and we should, honestly, he should have made the call when he found out it was blocked. First of all, dispatch calls, says, go here.
Mm-hmm.
He goes there, and when he finds a locked door,
right.
I mean, I don't know how he could find a blocked door.
Right.
Because you don't know what's on the other side.
Right.
At that point in time, he signals and says, "Hey, we have a door that's not opening. So I'm going to go to the other side and find out." That should be all recorded.
And if that's recorded like that, then 9:59 would be on the other side of the door.
Right.
Right.
That's exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So.
But that's not what he said. That's not what he said. Remember, what he said was that he made that call on his radio when he was in the foyer in between those two doors, and he saw it was barricaded, right? And he made the call.
Right.
That's what he said.
And that could be the 9:59.
Well, according to the sheriff, that was the 9:59.
Right.
So we just have to confirm that with the radio calls to dispatch.
Right. Yep. So that's a good one, man. Let's end on that one, and then we'll come back and finish this little hallway thing up here.
We haven't even got to the shooting yet, Brian.
They hadn't even shot a shot yet.
There's no shots fired. It's 9:59, no shot, at least.
Right.
It's at least 9:59.
Right.
I mean, it's past 9:59, obviously, because they already made the call and the engineer's in the hallway.
Right.
And he came from another
Sure.
wing. Have you ever walked on any floor? Let's say he was on the 33rd floor, Brian, and he came on, there's 3 wings. He was on the 2nd or 3rd wing, not the 1st wing, right?
Yes.
Because I'm assuming that's why they call it the 100th floor.
It's a big hotel.
Right? So he came down a service elevator on another wing. That means he didn't come down the middle.
Right.
Okay? He came down on one of the ends. Let's just say it was on a 33rd. How long does it take to walk from the end of a service elevator, right on the end of the floor, 200, let's say, on the 32nd floor, all the way down to that floor? That's the starting time.
Yes.
Because he got called to come down at 9:59.
Right. So it's going to be 5-10 minutes from that time, more than likely.
Right.
Because those are big hotels.
Absolutely.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So that's where we got it. We haven't even got to his shooting. No one yet has fired a weapon.
That's right. We've spent several hours doing this, and no one's shot a weapon yet.
Trying to figure it out.
It's inconsistent, and it's definitely some good investigation.
Hell yeah. All right. Hey, we'll see you next time. Can't wait.
Alrighty.
Let's look forward to the shooting.
That's right.
I mean, Jesus. If any shots were fired before 10 o'clock, it had to be someplace other than the Mandalay Bay.
Exactly right.
Steven,
you're exactly right.
Steven, the engineer, said he didn't hear anything. It was quiet when he got into that hallway and saw Jesus hiding.
Which would have been after 10 o'clock.
It would have been after 10 o'clock because he got called at 9:59 at the earliest. That's when the call came into dispatch.
Yeah. So it would have had to have been after.
It had to have been after.
10 o'clock. So,
well, hey, we're going to find out more. We got to figure it out. Let's go, man. All right, have a good night.